Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate very much your generous invitation to be here tonight. You bear heavy responsibilities these days.
Welcome to Stock Legends Radio Show, seeking answers, opinions, and the inside scoop, putting you in the front seat on Wall Street.
In today's market,
This is breaking news. Where is it going next?
StockLegends.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Stock Legends Radio, episode 11. Please welcome today's hosts, myself, Quickdraw, also Matt Chart, our senior technical analyst. Matt Chart, welcome to the Stock Legends Radio Show.
Hey, Quick, always happy to be a part of Stock Legends.
Oh, just another day in paradise.
You betcha.
Well, we have a lot of topics that we want to discuss today. Also, we have our special guest, David, owner of a newly introduced social networking site, investorshangout.com. He'll be with us as our special guest for the second half of the show, so please make sure you listen to it. Matt, before we get into some hot topics that we want to discuss today and what's going on in the world economics, why don't we take a quick look at the U.S. markets? We saw the Dow actually hit a recent high. What do you think as far as where the Dow sits now? Do you think it's all artificial?
Well, let's take a look here. We had in 2007, before the great collapse, the Dow Jones peaked just over 14,000, and currently we're heading on our way back up to the all-time highs. We're looking at 13,000, just about 13,300. So we're basically like a few hundred basis points away from hitting all-time highs. And a lot of people are asking, well, how is this possible? The economic outlook is not positive. Unemployment rate is skyrocketing through the roof. You know, how can we have a stock market recovery like this? And the majority of the stock market recovery has been fueled by quantitative easing. That's the Federal Reserve going into the U.S. market, purchasing assets, purchasing bonds, bailing out companies to revive the stock market. And, you know, we haven't heard anything. QE2 ended in June of 2010, and we haven't had any, June of 2011, and the market had a very sharp pullback right after the end of QE2. But a lot of people are asking questions, how is the stock market rallying if we don't have any QE3? We heard just 2 weeks ago Ben Bernanke come out and say, hey guys, at the Fed meeting, we're not going to have any QE3 anytime soon. But what's actually going on is we're having a stealth QE3. It's like a secret bailout going on. They're not calling it QE3, but if you look at the balance sheet, and Jim Rogers has been very vocal about this. He's been going all over the mainstream news, and you know, it's hilarious every time an analyst, one of these CNN or mainstream analysts, asks Jim Rogers, hey, are we going to see QE3 around the corner? Well, his reaction is basically, we already have QE3. Look at what the Fed is doing. They're filling up their balance sheet with all kinds of assets, all kinds of treasury bonds. If you look at the base money supply, M2, it's completely skyrocketing right now. And this is the reason we're having a stock market rally and a stock market recovery. So the outcome, or the, you know, every action has an equal opposite reaction. What is going to be happening is we're going to see inflated asset prices. Look at what's happening in oil right now. A lot of people are pointing to Iran, that, you know, war is causing possible oil prices to go up, but it's the asset purchases. They're devaluing the U.S. dollar like they've been doing all along. The only thing that's happening is it's devaluing at an accelerated rate. So, you know, it's great for the 1%, so to say, if you want to throw an Occupy Wall Street term at you guys, but, you know, for the average person, this isn't helping them. You know, energy prices are going up because of all of the money the Federal Reserve is printing, but it's not helping the average person at all. The average person in America is having higher gas bills, higher energy costs, and it's helping the people that are holding, you know, huge quantities of stocks in major corporations that are ones that are really benefiting from this asset purchase.
So what we're basically seeing is a head fake. We're seeing the government take a look at mob psychology per se, and you know, QE2 hit. You know, it was badly needed. We knew that we were just going to have to keep on doing it once we started injecting the first doses. But now, in order to dodge a negative reaction at the Federal Reserve and people saying, hey, you're burning our money, what he did was said no QE3, because really what actually gives QE3 its name. What it is it's devaluing the U.S. dollar, and that's exactly what he's doing. So let's call a spade a spade.
Exactly.
They're keeping it under the curtain, and once again, American public is being misinformed. So at some point, as people start to search for these, different media avenues and stay off of mainstream media, you'll start to get a clearer picture of what's really going on.
Oh, for sure. There's a huge disconnect between what the mainstream media and the Federal Reserve are telling you and what is really going on. So people look at the numbers don't lie. And it's interesting, actually, a gentleman by the name of Owen Hoffenmeister, he's the founder for Citizens for Affordable Energy and the former CEO of Shell's oil U.S. operations, came out and said, hey guys, we're going to have $5 gasoline this year. And this is a result of the quantitative easing policies introduced by the Fed. So, hey guys, this summer, maybe later next year, sometime in 2012, be prepared to pay at the pump.
Yeah, in excess of $5 a gallon. So that's not just the gasoline that we have to keep in mind. We have to think about the shipment of produce, consumer goods. What happens is everything around you slowly starts to inflate, and $5 here, $6 there, $10 there. Your grocery store money doesn't go nearly as far as it used to, and it all kind of builds from there. Let's also take a look here. Now, the philosophy was, let's get as many people in college as possible. Let's boost incentives. Let's, go ahead and create a future for the children of America. They can be able to go and get real jobs and make real money. So they went to college and they have all these incentives. But what's actually happening, and that brings us to our next article here, is that student loan debt reaches $1 trillion. Now, $1 trillion, that's a humongous number.
It is a lot of money, and these are students that are borrowing money to attend college to get a job. Now, what's happening? The unemployment rate for this particular class is somewhere in the 20-30%. I'm not sure of the exact number, but it's astronomically high. These graduates are not getting jobs, and what's happening is all this debt needs to be paid back. Well, if you graduate and you don't have a job to pay your debt back, you're not going to be able to afford those monthly payments, and the people that lent all that money out are going to be up creek without a paddle. And unfortunately, a lot of experts are calling the student debt debacle the next debt bomb. So, maybe something like we saw in the housing market, maybe we'll see tuition prices collapse because no one can afford to borrow all this money to go to school. So, hey, maybe that will be better for the average American, and let the education costs come down a little bit, and so people can afford an education. Not that it's going to guarantee you a job anyways in this particular economy, but clearly this is a problem, and the free market's going to work itself out, and we're going to see these students default on their massive debt that all these students are borrowing to compete for jobs that don't exist, and we're going to see a collapse, just like we saw in the housing market with all these builders building all these homes, competing for families that cannot purchase or afford homes. It's the same thing. I mean, you just substitute house for student loan, and we're going to have the same thing happen.
Right, because you can't do anything with your credit, and once your credit's bad, it's bad. What they're actually saying here is propelled college graduates into financial Armageddon. So these are types of things that we feel the effects of a few years down the road. It's unfortunate. And I actually know a lot of people personally that are in the same type of situation. Graduated college, they can't get a job, and they end up working $10, $11 an hour with a degree stuffed in their back pocket.
Yeah,
it's too bad.
And their debt gets downgraded. Let's talk about Moody's, and there are cuts right across the board with Italy, Spain, Portugal, and a few others. They've downgraded their debt. We've got, and not only that, many countries are, being reverted from whatever credit rating they have to negative outlook. It's almost every single European country.
It's actually 9: Austria, France, Italy, Malta, Portugal, Slovakia, Slovenia, Spain, United Kingdom. So all downgraded, all their debt's downgraded. So what this actually means is, just like when a person's credit's been downgraded, you're not going to have the vast amount of options that you may have had the week before. So, but for these major nations, less options in difficult times, sometimes, and in most cases, equates to a collapse.
Yeah, it costs more to borrow. So, it costs more to service the current debt that you have, and it costs more to borrow. Your interest rates go up. So when an interest rate goes up for a country, interest rates go up for homeowners, for students, for everyone that's in debt. It's going to cost more money. So people, the economic recovery is so far from over. The economic collapse is still coming. We've got these higher interest rates and these debt downgrades for these nations are just going to have this trickle down effect that are going to affect every single small business, every single student in debt, every homeowner. Anyone that has borrowed money is going to be affected by higher interest rates. So what we need to see is we're going to see interest rates absolutely skyrocket in 2012, maybe 2013, 2014. Until we see interest rates explode like we saw in the late 70s, early 80s, the current collapse is not going to be anywhere near over.
Yeah, keep in mind also that there's a lot of international deals and international loans and international banks that associate each other with each other. Well, if you finance somebody a vehicle and they were a 700 credit score and 6 to 8 months later they were a 520 credit score, well, guess what? That particular recipient of the product might not have the same mentality they did 2 or 3 months ago, because hey, we're already a 520 credit score. Let's miss a payment here and there. So it'll be unique to see what happens if there's any ripple effect, and what kind of repercussions there could potentially be on the global economy, because we're not talking about anything small. We're talking about 10, 11 countries here, major countries. The banking system, we've seen it before. We saw with MF Global, John CORZINE. He actually, is stepping on the hot box now. It seems that we may have found the smoking gun that everyone's been looking for. Now, keep in mind, this hasn't been founded yet. They're just researching John CORZINE, and they found out that a couple days before the collapse, he authorized a $200 million transfer through a client's account, not from his own account. Now, keep in mind, John CORZINE, his secretary, actually put in a statement.
Edith O'Brien, yeah, she's a treasurer for the firm, actually, for MF Global, yeah.
So what Edith O'Brien, a treasurer for the firm, actually said is, per JC's direct instructions. Now, JC stands for John CORZINE. Keep in mind, this is the CEO of the company. This isn't normally his position to authorize transfers and things of this nature. So it was enough to be identified as an out of the blue type of movement. Like, hey, what's he doing transferring this $200 million? Okay, so then MF Global goes under.
After the firm collapsed, they brought John CORZINE on to testify in front of Congress, and they said, "Where did the money go? I have no idea." So he lied to Congress. If this email that we have from Edith O'Brien is real, which I believe it is, then we have the smoking gun that John CORZINE lied. That's perjury, and he should be held accountable for that. Not only that, he should be held accountable for the missing funds that have unfortunately caused so much heartache for all of the clients at MF Global, and our hearts go out to those people. We hope that justice gets done here, and those people are reinstituted their funds that were stolen by John CORZINE, and John CORZINE should go to trial and face judgment for what he's done here.
Yeah, we're talking $1 billion. So this isn't even 1/5 of the money that's come up missing. What I hope we have here is a chain of events that are able to put into place. And, typically it only takes one smoking gun to open the door. And the next thing you know, Pandora's box is open, and the truth always prevails. Always. Yeah. So let's bring it to our next topic here. Anonymous hacks Greek ministry website, demands IMF withdrawal, threatens it will wipe out all citizens' debt. Now, this is amazing to see Anonymous step in. Citizens of Greece, we are anonymous. We watch every day your government abolishes the constitution and institutions of the country. We see them leading you closer and closer to poverty. We see them pass lawsuits that deprive you of any right to dignity. We see them and deliver the country to the IMF and bankers. We know about the soup kitchens in schools. for people who left jobless and now wait and question for a plate of food. And it goes on and on. This is a letter that Anonymous wrote. What they're basically saying is if they don't see IMF withdrawal, and Matt, do you want to explain what that means to the listeners? Then they will basically hack and abolish all the citizens' debt. So what does IMF withdrawal mean, Matt?
Well, I mean, I think what people need to understand is that the Prime Minister of Greece is basically a banker puppet. You know, when Italy and Greece both had new prime ministers rolled in there, basically they were put into power from the banking. They've got intimate ties with the IMF and Goldman Sachs. And these prime ministers are unelected bureaucrats. They're unelected bankers that were installed to run the country. Now, the previous prime ministers, they were a little humming and hawing about taking more bailout packages for their country. So they got ousted. These new puppeteers got thrown in to take charge of the country. And the first things they do is they authorize more bailouts for the countries, you know, put the country into more debt. It's against the wishes of the people. The people don't want these bailouts. The vast majority of them don't, because unfortunately these bailouts have strings attached. They have higher taxes. They have, you know, this and that. You don't solve a debt problem by issuing more debt. So now Anonymous is saying, hey guys, we got a serious problem here. These Greeks are really feeling the pain. Let's just reset all the debt. Let's take all the debt you own and reverse it to zero. I hope that would happen to me. Who knows? I mean, we could have a global... I've heard Bob Chapman from the International Forecasters say that he foresees a global debt reset. And that would basically mean that everyone's debts, or all these countries' debts, basically need to be reset or forgiven. Whatever happens, whether it's, you know, through a hacker group saying we're going to hack the system and changes everyone's debt to zero, that would be disastrous for the banks, so they can no longer collect interest on these debts for this fictitious money that they printed and, you know, invented out of thin air. So, you know, this is a direct threat and a direct attack to the banking establishment. And, you know, it's pretty brave, it's pretty ballsy. We'll see what happens, whether this actually happens or not. Looks like it's just a threat at this point, but certainly people pay attention to what's happening with Greece and what's happening with Anonymous. If this is something real, I mean, this could kill the bankers and, you know, take away all their power by erasing the people's debt. So I think that's what the modus operandi of Anonymous is at this particular point in time, is to try and attack the bankers. They know that you just can't, take these institutions and make them invisible or erase them, but what they can possibly do is erase all the debt. All the debt is electronic numbers anyway. How hard is it to go into a computer system and just change someone's mortgage from, you know, $1 million down to zero and erase all the trails?
It's amazing to see a group such as Anonymous step in, you know, and fill a giant void. You know,
Yeah.
The government are supposed to be a reflection of the voice of the people, from the state levels up to the federal level, and there on through. What happened is decisions are being made that aren't directions that the people necessarily would make. And, you know, there's a lot of corruption, a lot of things taking place, people stuff in their pockets, jumping off corporate parachutes, and to see a group step in and say, wait a minute, you can go that route if you want, but here's going to be the adverse reaction. Here's going to be the recourse, and we're going to step up and stand in for the rights of the people, you know, whether it's, locally or internationally. So very interesting to see what happens here.
Yeah.
And it's even funnier to see the group just get more and more out in the open over these situations. You know, I mean, they're pretty much plain as day on this topic. So bailed out AIG posts huge beat on tax gimmick and will avoid paying taxes for years. So AIG, they just got a bailout, tons of money. Well, guess what? They're not going to be paying taxes for years either. How'd they do it? They inflated their balance sheet. And how exactly did that work, Mac? From like 2 million to 19 million, and the way it works out, they're going to be, you know, not going to pay any taxes.
Let's change million to billion, because actually they posted a $19.8 billion profit, but they used an old accounting trick to basically inflate their actual revenue. They used some deferred tax liabilities and deferred asset conversions. So basically what they did is they basically lied to the shareholders and to the public. Realistically, they had about $2 billion in profit, and this is coming on the fact that AIG is basically a government-owned institution, and not only that, but they're not even going to have to pay taxes. Whether you call it fascism or communism or whatever, you basically have corporations and government joined at the hip. They're now connected. You have the huge banking institutions connected with government. This is never going to come to any benefit to the American people.
Oh, because they're going to make adverse decisions against us
Mm-hmm.
and where we'd like to be. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we bailed them out, so, we're happy to see them not pay taxes either. Matt, you try not to pay taxes for 4 or 5 years. I bet you'll get a pleasant visit.
Well, I'll call Anonymous and see if they can erase my IRS debt.
Right, exactly. And don't forget me, Quickdraw. You guys can find out who I am. I could use a little tax relief. Well, a lot going on in the world. We want to keep you sharp on some main topics. Folks, please pay attention. Up next, we have David from InvestorsHangout.com, an exclusive one-on-one interview. Talk about what's going on, what's hot. Over 1,000 members in a short period of time already at InvestorsHangout.com. Please stay tuned after this break.
Sweetheart, now you're getting a little bit older. What do you want to do when you grow up?
Daddy, when I get older, I want to flip stocks.
You want to flip stocks? Well, how are you going to go about flipping stocks?
StockLegends.com, duh.
StockLegends.com? I heard that they have the best stock picks around.
Of course they do, Dad. Time is money. I gotta go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from that short commercial break. Up next, we have David from InvestorsHangout.com. For listeners that do not know about InvestorsHangout.com, this is a new OTC trading social networking platform that is already over 1,000 members. David, welcome to the Stock Legends Radio Show.
Thanks a lot, Quick.
We're very happy to have you here. We've been watching your construction and what you have going on, and we've been anticipating the moment we would have the opportunity to have you on the radio show. Now, David, we want to kind of get to the underlying thought process and inspiration behind Investors Hangout. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your original concept and where it came from, and your trials and tribulations in setting up the website and getting it active? I'm sure it was a long road.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. First off, thank you very much for having me on here. I definitely appreciate it. And with Investors Hangout, it's been a very, very long process. There's been very few people that knew about it, that it was coming. It was over in development for at least 7 months of nonstop design. I've told a few people I have over 2,500 different images of design. The inspiration came from, I am a fan of social networks, and I feel that as far as finding the content that you need, why not just throw it into one place, strictly form, that is, so you can go ahead and share your different information, opinions. One thing that I really wanted to do is build something that was extremely, extremely easy to use, because not all traders are 21, 22-year-old kids or young adults. There are some traders at 70, 75 years old that are on these forums, and it's only going to make it better if it's very simple to use. And that was my whole vision behind this site.
That makes a lot of sense. Being an entry-level trader, we've all been there. The stock world can be extremely confusing. I remember searching for information, trying to find out who was on the money, who had good stock picks, or who had good stock ideas, and then you're going somewhere else for your chart, and you're going somewhere else for your buzz cloud. So to have it all streamlined and in one place makes a lot of sense. This is a very user-friendly atmosphere, extremely easy to use. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the platform that it's built on? And I've noticed that it's very seamless and very smooth. Tell us a little bit why you went with the route and the platform you did from a performance base.
Okay, well, when I first started this, obviously we've talked about this on a previous show that was on. I've only traded for exactly 1 year. It was January 1st to the following January 1st, and I quit trading for this website, that is. And when I first started trading, it was so hard to work around other websites for a newbie, that is. For somebody that just comes into the picture, it was so hard for me to, figure it out, and I hear that from many others. And so I said, what can I do here? And that's when I started designing Investors Hangout to make sure it was extremely easy to use. Well, Investors Hangout has over 19,000 boards. It's 19,000 stock boards alone, just from the American, New York, NASDAQ, and the OTC, BB, and Pink Sheets. Now, a user can create their own boards. You have a favorites, you have person mark, option, which you can follow somebody. Every post that they make, their name comes up in bold. You could board mark a board, which is the board, the stock board. You can go ahead and click board mark. And then once you do that, it will come up in your favorites in alphabetical order. Same thing with the users. You'll have a users tab under favorites. And I made a simple watch list that's also underneath the favorites. And when you go there, you can put in any ticker you want, up to 10 of them. So you click one button and you can go ahead and see up to 10 different stocks, and you see the intraday chart along with it.
And that's all in one exact page. So it's like you've got 10 charts all in one page on your entire watch list with the price moves that have happened throughout that day.
That is correct. You have intraday, and you have the option to go all the way back to 10 years. So you can look at one page and look up to all 10 of your stocks at one time and see the exact chart and the quote right next to it.
Now, I also see here you have free IRP for promoters. This to me is a very smart approach. Promoters, they all have their own following. They're able to come into the website free of charge and identify that they're a promoter, and they're able to do that free of charge and grow their following. Was that a strategic idea for you, and what was your reason for making that free?
The original plan for that was to be $24.99, and being in the launch phase, I said, you know what, the best thing I've heard from many people saying, just go free with it, just go free. Well, it's $24.99 to start. I just said, I dropped the ball. I said, you know what, I'm going to take this out, and I made an announcement across the website. I took it out and made that free. The IRPs can go ahead and request an IRP account. Once you have that, you'll have in your profile, it will say IRP. You'll see a total compensated post. When you go to create a post, you'll also have a IRP button next to your post. Click that IRP button instead of the create post. It would actually create your post, but it will say compensated post up in the top center of that post.
Perfect.
Yes, and along with the memberships for the regular users, they're also free. Unlimited posts, unlimited private messaging. Everybody that joins starts with a free account, and they can go ahead and go to the admin of the site and just request unlimited posts, and then I will go ahead and change your status to a premium account. Everybody that joins, including IRPs right now, if there's ever a charge, and I plan to never charge for this website, everybody that's joining right now is guaranteed a lifetime membership, including IRPs.
It's very
that's
impressive.
amazing.
Yeah,
That's
great.
very impressive.
So, I mean, what about, okay, so trading's a very complicated manner. You've got great charts on the site. What about other sorts of tools? Are you offering level 2 on the site? Are you offering any other sort of, extended watch lists for people to sort of incorporate into their trading experience? What sort of things, what sort of additional trading technologies are you bringing into this website for traders?
Right now, I am working on a few different things. One is going to be the news. I'm actually going to have a news feed on each one of the boards. So if it's Google or Dell or whatever, next to the chart, it'll actually have the news feed next to it. So one stop, you just go there, you can read all the content from all the posters. You can see the intraday chart right there with the quotes, and to the left of it, I will have the news eventually here, and I will eventually have a trades tab, so you can click on there and watch trades go through. As far as level 2, I am working with a few different companies right now as we speak and planning to integrate the level 2 into the system.
That's huge. Now, you also have private messaging capabilities. You can upload annotated charts directly in the post. You can have the ability to do direct mailers. Let's talk about the direct mailers and how this works with the boards. You're able to do board mails?
That's correct. Every board on the site, if you click the show board information, which is the top where all the information on the company or board goes, you'll see at the bottom sign up for board mail. As soon as you click that, you're automatically signed up to that board mail. As far as removing, all you have to do is click remove me from board mail, and that'll remove you. And then you also have an option in your settings to remove you. As far as sending it, the board mod and the 6 assistants do have the capabilities of sending out that mail. Once they go ahead and type up the mail, they will see all the people that mail is going to, and they actually have the option to take somebody out. If you didn't want to send me the mail and want to send it to everybody else, you have the option to actually remove people from that list.
Oh, that's great. And then can you add them back depending on the situation?
Yep. So no matter if you're sending out one board mail and you want certain people to see it, you can go ahead and select only certain people that you want to see it. So it's definitely a selective email list.
That's very interesting and very unique. That's something I haven't seen anywhere else.
Yes, it was. There's a lot of things on here that I've came through that just to make it better. Keep it really extremely simple, but make it better. That's the whole goal behind Investors Hangout.
We've watched you basically explode all the way up to over 1,000 members in such a short period of time. What are your goals as far as members, inside of 6 months and inside 12 months? Because there's always a phase when a website comes on. Are they going to make it or are they not going to make it? I would say that, once you reach 400 or 500 members, it's safe to say that you're here to stay. You've exploded on the scene with over 1,000 members. And when was your official launch date?
My official launch date was February 17th. It was that evening. I just decided, hey, this is time to go. I was ready, and I didn't want to hold it back anymore. Actually, the launch date before was actually November 1st of last year. So it kept getting pushed off. There was a lot of back-end stuff I had to do, legal things and stuff like that, that definitely held it back from launching. Once I got the go and the clear from everything and everything signed off, I pushed it, and it actually took off so fast, and it's pretty funny to talk about now, but it took off so fast, it knocked down my server once, and it knocked out my registration 3 times. To the point there was 15 to 20 people at one time trying to sign up, and the registration couldn't handle it. So it was fixed. It took a few days to get it 100%. It took a week for me to transfer on new servers, but yeah, we're solid now.
Excellent. That's fantastic. So you're ready to go to increase your traffic count to quite a bit higher from here. And what do we expect from you in a few months from now? I mean, obviously we're going to see a much bigger following here on this particular website, and with more people and more traffic coming on here, you're going to continue to upgrade your servers so there's no more difficulties or problems bringing the sites down. I keep seeing new boards and new traders coming on. Is there any particular market that you're looking to target? Clearly, I mean, this is going to be clearly a penny stock market type of a board, but you do have lots of big board type stocks that are mentioned on here as well. So do you foresee this mostly being a penny stock board, or do you think lots of big board traders are going to find opportunities to come here?
To an extent. Of course, there's going to be a lot of penny stock traders in here. One thing I've noticed that penny stock traders, I was one myself, and you tend to almost form like a family around the boards, and I'm sure you can all agree to that. And it's true, and everybody gets their own like little civilization. And that's exactly what we see going on here on Investors Hangout, with especially the OTC boards and stuff like that. My long-term goals here are to definitely exceed 5,000 members in the next few months, which I'm sure that it probably will happen. And right now we're having 1,100 page hits to the homepage a day and 25,000 page views per day.
That's amazing. Now, talking about those page views, are there any advertisement opportunities? I noticed that you have a hot ticker. How does that work? If I'm a trader or if I'm a promoter and I've got a stock that I'm focusing on, 1,100 views a day, that's a significant amount of views. Would they just contact you personally, or how would they go about contacting you to request information about reserving those spots?
For the ads, they would just go ahead and click contact us in the footer on the home page. Actually, on any page you'll see it in the footer for the contact us. Send me an email, tell me what you're looking for, and I'll get you a price sheet back. But anybody could buy these ads. I mean, anywhere from a trader to a promoter to a company, anybody can buy these ads. I could put a hot ticker up there, which is the first banner anybody will see when they come to the website. So I have a scrolling banner in the top right. The hot ticker will be there with a ticker under it. Anybody can buy that. And also I do company profiles up there. So you will actually see the company's banner, see the ticker symbol, and the company banner will link to whatever site you want it to. So the advertisements for right there definitely get a ton of views. I have advertisements on the boards, only above and below the boards. No advertisements in the posts, and nothing to distract your views of the posts.
Do you have any plans of opening that advertising up to the site-based email list to be able to distribute a particular email or opportunity to all the members, or are you thinking of including that in the future?
I've considered it for the whole website, but right now my main focus is on growth of the website and marketing. And after that, I think I'll go ahead and start building up from there and deciding other different ways to advertise and make it much larger.
The site is very easy to use. That's what I like. The functionality is there. It's easy to find what you're looking for. You've got what's hot. You've got favorites. You've got your boards. Now, settings. Are there abilities to customize your particular profile or watch list? Is that under your settings tab or?
For the watch list, that's all under favorites. If you go there and go to your watch list, you'll actually be able to add and remove tickers. You can hide them and whatnot. There's also a note in your favorites when you go ahead and board mark a board or follow a person. There's actually a little pen icon. If you click that pen icon, you can put a note in there, and as soon as you scroll your mouse over it, that note that you put in there will pop out. So if so-and-so told me to keep an eye on this stock for next Tuesday, I can go ahead and put that note in there, and when that takes off or whatever, I can go back there and say, that's who told me about it. I'll keep an eye on this person. And as far as settings, when you work your way over there, you can go ahead and change your image profile picture. You can go ahead and change your signature, which is what comes up underneath your post. You can go ahead and remove your board mails that you've signed up to. So there's definitely a few options you can work from there. Definitely, like I said, I wanted to keep it extremely simple. And as I'm growing now, I'm getting more and more emails. Hey, add this, do this, and I've got a few things coming right now that will be live probably within the next 2 months that are really going to blow people away. I mean, I'm all about communicating, making sure that when something happens, especially in the stock market, you need to know right away. And
you've got seconds. You have seconds sometimes.
Right. So my next move, I'll talk more about that later on. I think once I launch that, I probably want to come on for another radio show.
Sweet.
We'd love to have you here. I'm looking at this right now, and I just noticed a huge feature. You have a calculator here, but here's why this is so important. I just tried 100 million times 500 million just to see how high the digits went up. This calculator actually goes to the trillions. Now, this is such a good tool because any desk calculator, 9 out of 10 desk calculators that you have, won't do the math for trip zeros. I mean, we have some of these companies that have authorized shares of 500 billion. Try doing the math and trying to figure out a P&E ratio or how high it's undervalued, or even
the market value. I do that all the time.
Even trying to do fast math to find out how many shares you can buy for 10 grand or 5 grand so you can get into a trade and not over purchase. I mean, the fact that you have this plugged in as part of the website is excellent. This is a hugely underlooked tool.
Right. Yeah, the calculator, yes, I've gotten a few PMs on that, and people definitely enjoy that. I also have a notes tab up there right next to that calculator, and you can go in there and write up any note you want, even a personal note. Go in there and say, hey, I got to let the dog out in 2 hours, or whatever you got to do. You can put a note there and simply create it.
Now, there's another option here, and an option that we didn't naturally think of, and I haven't mentioned this to you before, but I think it's also an underlooked option. Do you have any place for people to be able to write an article and upload an article? Because you have videos, you got video chat, or is this something that you'd be willing to do, is open another tab, user submitted articles, along with the videos and the annotated charts? Because, and Matt will relate to me on this, Matt, you write a lot of articles that are really breaking economics issues, and people come and they read these articles, and they really learn a lot from. For the average trader, always expanding your mind, you want to know what's going on around you, the different markets, the different economic issues that may or may not affect the markets. Is that an option or something that you would consider adding?
That's something I'll definitely consider adding. I mean, I'm always open to anyone's ideas that want to share, that want to help. Anything, you can go ahead and submit it on the questions and suggestions board that I have already. But that's definitely something I'm going to think about, because right now you can obviously make a post of your article or on your own board, but maybe something that I can implement that's off to the side where you can go just for that. Right now, like I said, through settings, you do have an option to upload any video from YouTube, and it goes directly to the homepage. This
is designed for traders, by traders. It's nice to see that you're giving back to the community, allowing the free membership, which gives people a place to call home where they can go and post and not have to worry about their membership expiring and moving money and paying the credit cards and constantly being offered free things. And that, I'm sure at one point it will have to come, but the fact that you started it off free really shows a lot to the traders that, hey, you're here for the community. You want
Right.
people to have a home, a place to go to make money.
Right, exactly. And I know I've told you this before off the air that this whole website was not for capital gain. And that's one thing that I definitely want open, that I quit trading to run this website. I quit just so everybody knows there's an honest back behind it. I also went ahead and went with the whole free membership just so I could build it. And like I said, not for capital gain. I think that all the money that's going to be coming in off the advertisements are being put right back into it. And I've already generated some revenue from the advertisements, and that's just going right back into it, just like I told everybody it would.
Now, do you plan on expanding into options? We have a lot of stock traders that are kind of going towards options, or have you kind of toyed around with that idea on whether or not you would open some options boards, and or do people basically have the liberty to start whatever board they want so they could create an options board by themselves?
Yeah, so we've actually already have an options board, but yeah, you can come on there and make whatever board you want. As far as the growth and the options and all that stuff, I'm definitely going to be adding stuff into the categories. Everything from, I mean, this is Investors Hangout, the whole name. Like I said, the investors. This isn't just for stocks. I mean, this could be for housing. This can be for land, anything. All these different categories will be coming into here.
So you'll actually be expanding into, private sectors as well. People that are looking for mining claims, which would actually correlate almost directly with mining stocks or maybe old oil wells and reserves.
Or real estate, or it
that's
opens up
very
the whole
interesting.
thing.
Right, real estate, everything that involves any sort of investing, any kind of money, it'll eventually be on here. I did set a personal goal by October next year, or this year rather, 2012, to actually go global on this website.
So are you looking to branch into different exchanges then by going global? Is that what you're considering?
That is correct. Yes.
Excellent.
So you would have the Frankfurt, you would have all the different markets.
Correct.
That's
the goal
excellent.
for the end of this year.
Oh wow, that would be one of a kind. People don't realize that a lot of these investment funds actually come from overseas.
Yeah.
So the websites that are able to convert into different languages to have followers from different areas, I mean, that could move the user base up into the hundreds of millions.
Correct. And right now, I have a language translator already in the system.
Dave, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was just about to say, just put up a translator so people can read PRs in different languages, and
Correct.
you'll be set. And
it's ready in the system. I do not have it active because obviously we don't have too many other people, posting different languages. But if I wanted to, I could go ahead and turn on the translator. Everything that you type in a different language, it will go ahead and come up as English if you're in the United States.
That's a huge market.
Yes.
That's a huge market. This is a very exciting time for you. We've seen this come up. We've seen you work on it. It's exciting. There's an opportunity here for not only the traders, but promoters and companies that are trying to get their name out. You're not going to be micromanaged. You're going to have a place to go to call home. And the platform's so user-friendly. I mean, I was amazed when I went in there. I mean, you just blow right through it. There's really not even an introduction needed. Everything speaks for itself.
Yes, and that's the whole point behind it, like I said, is being simple. I know a lot of my buddies, when I was developing this website, like, where'd you go, man? I haven't heard from you for like 3 weeks. I would come home from work and start working on this at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I would not shut off my computer until 1 o'clock the next morning. I mean,
Wow.
it was constant. I would go to sleep for 2.5 hours, go to my normal day job, come home and do it all over again. I mean, for almost 8 months straight.
A lot of hard work and dedication went into it. Well, I'll be the first to tell you that it shows. It's an amazing platform that you have here. We want all of our listeners today to go to www.investorshangout.com, where the investors go to hang out, and you will find yourself one user-friendly, exceptionally easy to use social networking platform where you can go and see active traders, active companies, any kind of investor, not just stock investors. Hey, if you invest in houses or if you invest in mining claims, wherever you pass the buck, that's where the investors hang out. We want everyone, again, investorshangout.com. David, it was great having you on the radio show today. Like you said, you want to come back on when you get a couple steps further in some of the strategic plans that may be happening and that you might be putting into place. So we'd like to invite you back as soon as you figure out what your next step is, and we'll follow you all the way through. Congratulations, and it's great having you on the radio show.
Thank you, guys. I definitely really appreciate it.
All information posted by Stock Legends is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as an offer or solicitation to offer or buy or sell securities. By listening to this radio show or this poster or this video by Stock Legends, you are accepting sole responsibility for your own investment decisions. By reading messages, doing so in videos, or listening to the radio show, you acknowledge that the information hereunto contained within this message or video provided or radio show is for general opinionated discussion and for informational purposes only. Therefore, should not be considered to be complete, precise, accurate, or current investment advice. Be aware that internet persons, videos, and so on, not only on the original message board where this disclaimer was discovered or in this video show, but other message boards that is not limited to the originated video of the website, may be increasing or decreasing our share positions in security regardless of what they are saying or posting or construing on this radio show, and may be compensated in some way or form by a third-party investor in the company mentioned posted in this video or radio show. The non-affiliated third parties compensated may or may not have shares to liquidate, which could affect the stock price. Assume that any security mentioned is owned by Stock Legends and may be buying or selling, adding or subtracting away from the position that they have, regardless of anything said, inferred, construed, or referred to. Believe before or after starting company profile. Always do your own due diligence prior to making investment decisions. Never borrow money and buy penny stocks. Always remember penny stocks are very risky. You could possibly lose your wife, keys, car, house, and everything else comes along with it. Also, be aware that information provided concerning certain securities contains forward-looking statements that involve risks and uncertainties. As in any investment, never invest in a penny stock unless you can afford to lose your full or entire investment. We completely abide by the Fifth Amendment for this full entire show.